All right, so the last couple days in the stock market have been pretty crazy, and for the most part, we've still just been range bounding on Nvidia. But we're gonna check out the S&P 500 real quick, get into Nvidia, and then start with AMD after that. So you can see with the S&P 500, there was a huge rejection. Let's just zoom in real quick. Now, the other day, or last couple days, we saw a pretty big upshot leading into what is going to be the FOMC in a couple of days here. And we're really looking, a lot of indecision here basically is what we're looking at. And I think after Apple clears out with their earnings and after we get more clarity on the next rate hike, that we're going to either see a leg down or leg up. And right now we're just kind of hovering back and forth. We've been basically range bound here since about the end of March, really. So that's the S&P 500, this huge rejection here. And if you're going short, you're looking for a couple of days of red to really solidify that. But let's just get into Nvidia right now. So Nvidia, the past couple of days, really shot up. It went from 277 all the way up to 290 in one day, which is pretty huge. And then we saw a rejection right here, not an engulfing red candle, which is if you're going short, you would really like to see that complete engulf down to kind of go the next leg down. But if you bring up the TSI real quick, you will see that we did not actually form a new blue cloud on the TSI, even on those up days. And even if we did, I feel like it still could have been a divergent high right over here. So again, signs, at least for right now, for Nvidia are showing that we're just losing momentum on this upside. And you can just see this curve. It's starting to flat out as far as how much more upside and how much more the bulls can actually pull it forward. So I have an open short on Nvidia, with the FOMC coming up and with Apple earnings coming up. It is a higher little bit risk coming up, and then they do have earnings for Nvidia on the 24th of this month. So that's going to be pretty important. But we're going to get into something here in a little bit that's going to maybe show some indications of what you could actually expect with Nvidia. So let's bring up the Heikin-Ashi candles on Nvidia real quick. And we're showing this engulfing right here on the Heikin-Ashi candle. So even though we do still have green candles, that can show some slowing down in momentum. And if we bring up the TSI, because the TSI can look a little different on the Heikin-Ashi candles, we still have not seen a blue cloud there, although it is a little bit closer to forming one on the Heikin-Ashi candles. So if we were to zoom out again, because you always want to zoom out, and let's just go to the weekly real quick. And now you can see, we had this range bound, we had these dojis, and as someone that has a short position open, I really would have liked to seen just a solid indication of going down. We did not have that, but that's why you scale into your positions, right? So this is, again, I've always said since I started covering Nvidia, that it's a little higher risk to get in when you have these green doji candles. The general rule of thumb with the Heikin-Ashi candles is you want to see two strong red candles to the downside, and we are still above these moving averages right here, the Bjorgo multi-MA, which is the 7 and the 25. So we're overbought, which is really what I'm betting on right now, that we're going to eventually see a downturn. If we can even just get back to that zero line, you could be pretty healthy in the green if you were to start shorting now. You could see it come down to this moving average when you get to the point of that zero line. So that's what we're going to be looking for on Nvidia. Now, I mentioned a little bit earlier that AMD can actually show us a little something of what we might expect with Nvidia. And so AMD has not been seeing that huge run that Nvidia did. They're very similar companies, but it's just showing that AMD is not having that upside that Nvidia is having. And we are not quite as overbought, although we have had this yellow line right here, which can indicate either consolidation or an exhaustion of a current momentum. We've had that for the past couple weeks now. This is AMD on the weekly chart. And if we bring up the actual price action, You can see right now this week we are down. We are in the red on AMD, and you still have that consolidation on this TSI right here. We could definitely see a bounce up, especially if the Apple earnings goes well, and especially if the S&P 500 reacts positively to the next rate hike. It's kind of hard to tell whether or not the market has priced in the new rate increase. Everyone is expecting another 25 basis points increase, but the Fed could pull something on us, and they could say that they have certain data that's come out and that they want to now pause. Or even if you get a pretty clear indication during the meeting that they are most likely going to not raise rates after this one, and that this last one is this most recent one's going to be the last one, I really do think the market could rally, at least in the short term. Who knows in the long term? It just depends on inflation and the whole banking crisis, whether or not it is a crisis or not. We really do need to see a recession in order to get some of those prices down, in my opinion. So that is probably what the Fed is really banking on. But what I really want to bring up, so if you go to the daily and AMD right now, you're not seeing much, right? However, if you notice, they had earnings today, and they actually had it, I believe, after hours. And if you bring down the 4-hour, you can see a huge rejection right here. The earnings did not bode well for them. I did not listen to the earnings. I just heard reports that they missed a little bit. And, man, that is huge. It went all the way from $90 down to $83. And with Nvidia and AMD being pretty similar in companies, you have a couple of things now that you have to look at. One, you have to look at tomorrow, or at least potentially how Nvidia is going to act up into their own earnings. And I very much believe that if people are reacting this negatively on AMD and it holds, now you got to keep in mind that AMD could just shoot right back up. You saw the reverse with Amazon. Let's just bring up that real quick. You saw this huge increase all the way up to 122 and then just shot right back down. Bring up AMD. Whoops. There we go. Bring up AMD. Again, this could just bounce right back the next day. It's entirely possible. However, like I said, if you're looking at certain sectors and you're thinking about trading one company and another company as earnings, it is indication of how things could look for that one company that you're potentially shorting or wanting to go long on. So, looking into tomorrow, just given the fact that we got a couple big days coming up, maybe you want to wait. Maybe you want to at least wait till after the FOMC and after Apple to get into AMD and start shorting it or going long, depending again on what happens with those days. But this is a huge indication of what we could potentially expect with Nvidia. So as far as shorts, it's a little risky to get into Nvidia right now, but at the end of the day, it's overbought. There's a lot of uncertainty in the market, and once these two big dates clear out this week, I just feel like a lot of the big money is going to start getting back in and start shorting. There is a lot of hedges going on right now leading up to the FOMC meeting, and we'll see whether or not those shorts are lifted or whether or not that they stay on and actually whoever's shorting doubles down on that. So that's all I got for you today. If you like this content and you want to see more, hit the like button while you're at it. It really, really, really helps out the channel to hit that like button. Leave a comment. Let me know what ticker you want to see, and then subscribe and hit the notification bell. But at the very least, just hit a like button if you like this. We'll see you next time. Thank you.